My name is Aldreama Harper, podcast launch strategist and online business systems specialist. I want to welcome you to another brand new training. And just by way of introduction, this is where I assist aspiring female podcasters to navigate the complexities of launching and growing a podcast, right? And as an online business systems specialist, I help my clients to streamline their digital operations, implementing efficient workflows and leveraging tools to enhance productivity and scalability for their online business. And so, in other words, the skills that you will acquire are transferable and they're also applicable to various aspects of your business way beyond podcasting, right? And so, in these trainings, you will get actionable insights and practical tools that you can apply immediately to launch and grow your podcast. And the steps, by the way, that we'll be going through are foundational to building blocks and foundational building blocks, excuse me, that will prepare you for a more successful podcast launch. So I encourage you to take notes, but more importantly, I want you to take action. And why is that? Because podcasting is not just about creating content. That is an important part. However, it's also about strategically positioning yourself in a competitive market. So, today we're going to talk about how to amplify your voice and elevate your business. Amplify your voice and elevate your business. And this is a series. I don't know if the next one is going to be the same title. However, we're going to stick with that for now, okay? But I am excited to share this with you because these are essential steps to launching a successful podcast and elevating your business. So, in this training, we're going to discuss the best ways to launch a podcast, the top apps to use, and provide you with actionable tips and current statistics to help you amplify your voice and grow your business. And so, if that's what you're looking for, you are in the right place. Now, I will say that in the trainings, when people register for these trainings, they answer questions, and this training today is actually based on these questions that were asked. And one of the most common questions is, how do I launch? What do I do? What are the steps that I take? Right. And so that's what this training is based on. And that's what inspired this particular training. So let's kind of get into it. Okay. So, why podcasting matters for female entrepreneurs? Hmm, that's a great question. Before we dive into that, into the nitty gritty of launching a podcast, let's explore why podcasting is such a powerful medium for female entrepreneurs. So, according to a recent study, 55% of podcast listeners are female, and 45% of podcasts are hosts by women. Hmm. And so that's one reason, right? Also, podcasting allows you to connect with your target audience and it helps you to build trust and establish yourself as an authority in your industry. And I'm sure that you've heard that, thousands of times, but it really does. With over 800,000 active podcasts out there, the competition may seem fierce, but the opportunities are vast and the audience is growing rapidly. Now, this is according to Podcast Insights. Wow, that is awesome. And so, launching um, a successful podcast, we're going to move on to the best way to launch a podcast because that was one of the questions that was asked. And I said I was going to answer the questions in this particular training, right? And so, launching a successful podcast does require very, very careful planning, preparation, and execution. But what we're going to go through right now is a step-by-step guide to help you get started. So hopefully, whoever listens to the replay, or if you are on live with me today, then you will be able to get this right now. Okay. So here's the step by step guide to help you get started. Number one, define your niche. Define your niche. Identify your target audience, their pain points, and what they're interested in learning, and be specific and focused to attract a dedicated audience. I can't stress that enough because so many times people, and myself included, have created courses or even launched podcasts. I've shared my story 1,000 times where I launched a podcast back in 2013, and it only has 12 episodes. Why? Because I had not gone through these steps. So continue to listen carefully. And again, defining your niche is extremely important, just like building a business, right? Number two, choose a format. Decide on the type of podcast you want to create, such as interview style, solo, panel discussion, whatever that is. You want to choose a format, decide on a format, right? And so mine are primarily solo, but occasionally I will do interview styles. Like um, I I will occasionally create a series of interviews and interviewing like other successful entrepreneurs, and even interviewing my clients who go through my podcast launch accelerator course. And so, but choose a format and consider your strengths, your interests, and what will engage your audience. That is so very, very important, right? Okay, so number three, select a name and tagline. So pick a unique and memorable name and tagline that will reflect your brand and your podcast theme. And make sure to check for your domain. Okay. The domain availability and social media, excuse me, handle are extremely important because you want people to find you, right? Make sure that it's unique and memorable, and the tagline reflects your brand and your podcast theme. Okay. So select a name and a tagline. Number four, create a content calendar. Plan your first 10 episodes, including the topics, the guests, and release dates. And this will help you to stay organized and ensure consistency. Now, I just shared with you, I only had on my first podcast, I only have 12 episodes. Why? Because I did not do this very thing that I am telling you now. And this is also what I encourage my clients to do when we're going through coaching and strategy sessions, is to make sure that you create a content calendar. That is so very important because a lot of times people will go through fatigue and overwhelm and procrastination because they don't know exactly what they are going to talk about. And that happens to many people. In fact, I get that question so much, um, that people, they get stuck, right? They get stuck because they don't have a plan and they haven't created a content calendar. Okay, so that's number four. Number five, develop a pre-launch strategy to build anticipation and promote your podcast on social media, email newsletters, on your websites, wherever you can. Make sure that you are building anticipation by promoting your podcast. Okay. And so and share behind the scenes content, like in sneak peeks and interviews, and they call social media teasers, right? And so all of these will help to build anticipation. By the way, this is something that I teach my clients in our podcasting strategy sessions. And so if you're interested in that, make sure that you go to bit.ly/, pod launch strategy to get started. All right. Number six, invest in quality equipment. Now, you don't need the most expensive equipment to start a podcast. In fact, you can start it with just headphones and your phone. But eventually, you'll want to invest in a good microphone, headphones, and a reliable hosting platform. My platform of choice is Spotify for podcasters. I highly recommend it. Number one, it's free and it's very, very easy to start. Number seven, record a pilot episode. Test your equipment, format, and style by recording a pilot episode and use this as an opportunity to refine your approach before you even launch, right? Because you want to get used to being behind a mic. You want to get used to hearing your own voice. A lot of people sometimes, they will say like, I really don't like hearing my voice. Well, look, get used to it. If you want to start a podcast, you do want to listen to your voice, okay? So record a pilot episode, just like they do with, streamline, not streamline, but streaming episodes of your favorite show, right? They have pilot episodes, right? So test your equipment and record a pilot episode. All right. So those are the seven best ways to launch a podcast. All right. So let's move on because another question that was asked was, what are the best apps to use? Wow. So with so many apps and tools available, I know that that can be overwhelming. So you want to choose the right ones for your podcasting journey. So here are my top recommendations. Okay. Number one, I highly recommend Audacity. Audacity is free. It's an open source platform. You can edit your podcast. You can record your podcast, and it's the most popular choice for a lot of people. Now, what I will say is this: if you're not used to doing this, then there will be a learning curve. Okay, but I do highly recommend Audacity. Um, Also, let's talk about. I'll give you a couple of others that's also available. That's free, like the next one that is free is GarageBand for Mac. Now, I personally do not use that, but it is a free digital audio workstation. And from what I understand from others, those who use it, it is very user friendly. So I would recommend that. Now, the only thing is, if you don't have a Mac, then it may not work for you. It won't work for you, right? But so GarageBand for Mac, and I'm not sure if they have it for PC. So again, I've not ever used that one. Now, a paid recommendation would be Adobe Audition, which is a professional grade editing software. Now, I highly recommend above all of these Riverside. Riverside.fm is a platform where you can do all of the things that's necessary in order to get a great podcast, right? You can even go live, and they are constantly updating their platform. Now, the reason I recommend it is because when you sign up for Spotify for podcasters, you can get 2 hours free of recording and editing on their platform because podcasters for Spotify, or Spotify for podcasters, sorry, they have partnered with Riverside. And so you actually get, some, you can record at least 2 hours of your episodes. Um, Absolutely free, and then you will have to pay a minimum of $15, I believe it is. Okay. Now, that's my top recommendation for recording and editing, even above Audacity, right? So, all right, let's move to hosting and distribution. So, my well, I actually just mentioned it. So you can host your podcast on Spotify for podcasters. Okay. So that is a hosting platform as well as recording and editing platform when you use Riverside with that, right? Otherwise, you can use other platforms for editing, but Spotify, which used to be Anchor, by the way, but is a very a very widely known and reliable hosting and distribution platform. Okay, there's also Buzzsprout. Now, Buzzsprout is a paid platform. It is a reliable hosting platform, and they have customizable players and analytics as well. Well, and when I mentioned that, so does Spotify for podcasters. Okay, Libsyn is another one. It's been on the market for a long time, and but you can go and check that out. It is a paid platform. There's others like Podbean and so many others, but these are great hosting and distribution platforms that I would recommend. Okay. All right. Number three. So, number one, we talked about recording and editing. Um, Hosting and distribution. Now, scheduling and organization. I'm going to recommend a few, okay, three at least. Trello for scheduling and organizing your podcast. It is free, but there also are some optional paid features. And it's excellent for being a visual project management tool for organizing episodes, guests, and tracking and task and all of those other things. Okay. There's also Calendly for scheduling. Okay, it's a scheduling tool for booking your guests and interviews. Now, I've used Calendly, the free version, and it is excellent. Now, I currently use practice.do for my scheduling. If you want to know more about that, then feel free to reach out to me. It is an excellent tool for not only is there a scheduling functionality inside of it, but it's also a CRM. So that's all I'm going to say about that. If you want to know more about that, then please feel free to reach out to me regarding that, but you will need a calendar or a scheduling tool. Okay. The other one I highly recommend, and I started using this one this year. I used to use Trello, but now I use Notion. And so it is also um, a free tool, but there also are optional paid features. But you can use that for note taking, researching topics, outlining your episodes, storing your ideas, things like that. It is excellent. So, those are my recommendations for scheduling and organization. Now, let's move on to launch and promotion strategies. So, now that you've set everything up, it's time to launch and promote it. Okay. So, here are some strategies to help get you started. You want to launch with a bang. Okay. Launch with a bang. You want to release multiple episodes. I would actually encourage you to release 5 episodes, including your trailer, so that people will want to binge listen to your episodes. Okay. And they could be like 15 minutes, they could even be 5 minutes. But what you want to do is launch with a bang and release multiple episodes all at once to create a binge listening experience. Okay. Number two, reach out to influencers if you know some, or just people that you may want to tap into, other people's audiences. And so you can collaborate with not just influencers, but other people that already have a podcast. This is something that I highly recommend by being a guest on someone else's podcast, and you can tap into their audience. And then that way, of course, you can get more people to yours, right? So, depending on what type of collaboration arrangement you've made, okay? Number three, engage on social media. Again, those little social media teasers, episode releases, right? Behind the scene content, things like that. Engage on social media. And then number four, use keywords, tags, and descriptions to improve your podcast visibility on search engines and platforms. So, number four is optimize for SEO. I cannot stress that enough. Now, again, these are things that I train my clients on or teach my clients when they work with me. And so, because what you want is a successful podcast, which means people are listening, people are subscribing, people, and your podcast is visible. Okay. So, all right. So, here's the thing, launching a successful podcast, it just takes time, it takes effort, it takes dedication. But when you have the right strategy, the right tools, then you can amplify your voice and elevate your business. But you got to stay focused on your niche. You got to create high quality content and engage with your audience. But don't be afraid to experiment and try new things. I can tell you from experience, I do this all the time. Okay. And so here are a few things that you can do. I know that you thought I was finished, but I'm almost done. So here are a few things that you can do as well. So here are some action steps. Okay. Number one, I want you to define your niche and your podcast theme, choose a format and create a content calendar, invest in high quality equipment and recording software, right? Don't break the bank. Don't break the bank. Then number four, select a hosting platform and distribution channels, right? Launch and promote your podcast with a bang. Some other things that you can do are to join some podcasting communities, join some online communities and support groups. You can do that on Facebook. You can do it on school. You can do it on other platforms, right? Um, Also, podcasting courses. Take online courses, right? To learn how to do these things. Podcasting books, right? All of these things are resources. These are additional resources to help you launch your podcast. Now, my suggestion, of course, is to start here with the Organizedpreneur podcast, where we teach you how to launch a podcast, as well as create the online systems and processes that you need for streamlining your podcast. That's why it's called Organizedpreneur Podcast. Now, let me give you a few. I'm going to close. Let me give you a few stats, some final stats, and a little bit of inspiration for you. Okay. So the average podcast listener consumes 7 hours of podcast content each week. That's according to Edison Research. I can tell you I am one of those. I consume a lot of podcast content because I love podcasting. Now, here's one: 71% of podcast listeners take action after hearing your message, right? A sponsor message. Now, you can sponsor yourself, or you can get someone to sponsor your podcast. Now that's a whole different topic and a whole nother on a whole nother episode or training or what have you. But also, here's the most one of the most positive things is that the podcasting industry is expected to reach $1.1 billion in ad revenue. Okay, that was as of 2023, so I'm pretty sure it's the number is different now, right? So, congratulations. Congratulations on taking your first step toward amplifying your voice and elevating your business through podcasting. I want you to really stay focused. I want you to continue creating and always keep your audience in mind when you are podcasting. So here's my question for you. What resonates with you? And what are you going to do to get past the first hurdle? Hopefully, you have taken notes. Hopefully, you are um, downloading this particular episode, or if you're online with me right now and listening to this, you have taken some notes and you are starting. This is a great start, by the way, by listening. But remember what I said, you know, you do want to not just take notes, but you want to take action. So I hope this has been helpful for you. Now, if you're interested in closing the gap between where you are now and where you want to go and how to fill that gap, then feel free to book a success strategy call with me. On that strategy call, I'll share options that are available at that time, and if it makes sense for us to work together, we'll discuss how to move forward. Okay. It is not a sales call. However, it is a strategy call. So, what we will do is talk about what strategies I can help you with, even on the call, as well as other options that are available, right? So, you may be at the point where you are launching your podcast and maybe you're stuck and you don't know where to go, and you're like, hey, I need some help. I need some hand holding, things like that. Or maybe you have already launched a podcast and you're stuck between the launch and how to move forward. Jump on a call with me, okay? We'll discuss again how to move forward if it makes sense for us to work together. But at that on that call is when we will be able to determine what makes sense for you. So I always like to end with a scripture, and today's scripture is Psalms 121, verses 1 and 2. This is the NIV version. It says, I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this has blessed you, and I hope you've been inspired by what has been shared on today. Now, if you are looking to book a strategy call, I'll give you the link again, and it will also be in the show notes. It is bit.ly/pod launch strategy. Jump on a call with me. All right. Okay. So until next time, stay organized and happy podcasting. Have an amazing day.